If you're looking for a pro wrestling podcast with taste, Buster Unmasked is the only podcast for you, where real pro wrestlers talk real pro wrestling and no bullshit allowed. All right, y'all, I know we're a few minutes late. We was having some issues, but we're here now. We're live. You're watching Buster Unmasked, and today's going to be an excellent show, man. I'm going to tell you something. Before I even get started, look, be sure to check us out on YouTube, Facebook, X, and more importantly than any and all that, the Genesis TV network every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Central. Go watch Buster Unmasked. It's on Roku. You can get it on Fire Stick. They have a website, Genesis TV network, every Thursday night, 10 p.m. Central Time. Check out Buster Unmasked. Look, guys, my guest tonight is a guy that everybody needs to keep their eyes on. Look, let me tell you something. This guy's got the size. He's got the skills. He's got the look. And more importantly than all that, he's got the vanity killer. I'm bringing to you Dorian Vane. Dorian.
What's going on, man?
What's up, dude?
Absolutely nothing. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man. I was thinking we was going to have to reschedule this thing there for a minute, right? Man.
Wonderful introduction, by the way. Wonderful introduction. You're better than cornbread when it comes to these introductions.
Oh, man, I try, man. I try to put everybody over, man. You know what I mean? Well, look, before we even get into how you got in the wrestling business and stuff, talk to me about the vanity killer, man. I love that. I think that is cool as hell, dude. I love that.
Well, the funny thing about it is that how I came to have it was a simple fact of I was in the back of when Raw was on Little Rock, and I ended up meeting Shelton Benjamin backstage. Had a good conversation with Shelton Benjamin. I asked him, hey, can I use your finish? And he was like, yeah, you can use my finish as long as I'm not in the building. So I'm like, okay, cool. So it's a ripcord leap jumping flatliner, which is the same thing Shelton's pay dirt. It's the same thing, except like a ripcord version. And when he does it real close, it looks really good. And that's why I use a ripcord version, because it looks really good when I do it up close. Pull you in like a short arm clothesline. Boom, there we go. I can hit it on anybody I want to. So it's I just do whatever I want to with it, and it's great.
No, there you go. That's the good thing about having a finisher. You can hit on anybody. Ain't nothing worse than having a finisher you can't hit on anybody you want to, dude.
At one point in time, I was thinking, man, it'd be great to have like a gut wrench power bomb or something like that. But this guy's like K Toomer still out here. I ain't wrestled yet, so
right.
I'm not doing that to him. So it's one of those things, you know.
No, it's good, man. I like it. I'll be honest with you, dude. I know it's your finisher and it's the name of your finisher, but dude, I think it ought to be your moniker, man.
Vanity killer, yeah.
Dude, it fits you to the T. The vanity killer, I think it's cool, man. Like I said, man, I think it fits your style, man. I'll be honest with you. Man, I've seen you live first time probably maybe a year ago at MCW. Mm-hmm. And I think I've been there twice and seen you twice live. Dude, you remind me of an old school boxer like Marvelous Marvin Hagler or Tommy Hearns. Your style, yeah. I don't know what it is about it, but man, you're looking everything, dude. You really, to me, anytime I see you, that's the first thing I think, man, this dude looks like an old school boxer.
You know, it's funny. I used to do, when I was in my in my earlier 20s, when I was in the Army, I was in the military for like 12 years. And a large portion of that I spent when I was in California for my first 4 years in the Army. I spent like boxing, MMA, stuff like that. So I did that for my 4 years from the time I was there when I was in California.
Right. That's good. It helps you with the wrestling, man.
Mm-hmm.
But you do, man. I think what it was, I seen you do some body shots. You had a guy in the corner and you started throwing these body shots. And, man, I thought it looked so good. It looks like old school boxing, you know.
Yeah.
Really wide shots to the body, man. When it just looked good. And every time I see you since then, that's all I think, man, is, man, this dude's whole style is like a boxer almost.
Yeah, you got to dig in with them when you hit them to the body. You got to dig in a little bit.
Make it look good. There you go. Well, look, now that we kind of got that out of the way and the vanity killer, let's go on back, man, and tell me how you got in this crazy business, dude.
Whew, crazy ain't that? It's the word for it for sure. It was when I had went to. I always wanted to do professional wrestling when I was younger than I am now. My grandma used to take me to wrestling shows, and so I was always wanting to do it, but you know, things in life happen where I had to do grown men stuff. So I ended up joining the army. I did the army for 12 years. And then I was like, I'm out. So I'm like, I still want to get professional wrestling a try. And there we go. Professional wrestling happened. I end up started training at Memphis, the Wrestle Center out there in Memphis.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, Derek King and Alan Steele trained me.
Excellent,
So
excellent guys to
yeah,
learn
wonderful
from,
guys,
dude.
man. Wonderful guys to learn from. Alan, Alan's a super cool dude. He was more like the head coach, but I would if I were to name Derek King as a coach, it would definitely be like a X's and O's type of dude, like for sure. Because he's the one that took me. He's the one that took me to my first show, and I see him every single Friday night, and he definitely he's the reason. Him and all those guys in MCW, the reason why I've grown the time over the year and some change I've been wrestling, helped me grow as a performer. I get critiqued every week.
Right.
If I suck, they will tell me I suck without any hesitation. And it's something that I need, and I like that. And Derek definitely won't tell me. His patented thing that he likes to say is, "Come here, kid. Come here." That's his usual thing. So I know he tells me that I messed up.
Well, I'm glad you said that because a lot of times, a lot of guys when they're breaking into business and say a guy like Alan or Derek, a vet watches your match, sees something, calls you over, and kind of critiquing you. A lot of people kind of, they get a little defensive about it when a lot of times these guys are really just trying to help you. And,
Well, they
and
don't. I'm sorry. I'm
no,
so
no,
sorry.
go ahead.
What they don't understand that I completely understand about it is the simple fact of it's constructive criticism. Not only is it constructive criticism, but it's also you got guys who they have a collective, like Derek's been doing this for 30 years, Al's been doing it for
Right,
20 something years. These are dudes who's done just about everything, and they're critiquing your matches for free.
right, right,
For free. They're critiquing your matches. And they're doing it because they care. They're not doing it because of anything else. They care about the business and they care about you. I thoroughly believe Derek cares about me, and that's my guy. But like I said before, these guys are doing you a service. If you go to Michael Elgin, he's going to charge you to watch your
right.
match. But you're getting guys just to tell you the same thing that Derek or Allen would tell you. So you go to your local guy who's been doing it 20 some years, who've actually done something just as not local, who've done something outside of it, and they give you a critique. You need to listen to it.
Right, right, for sure. Well, look, like you said, you kind of got your feet in the water at the Wrestle Center. Where did you have your first match at?
MCW. My first
Yeah.
match, I'll never forget it. My first match was me, Ray Collins, and Michael Matthew. He works for OCW. Matthew Wade.
Okay.
We were in
Yeah, I
a
know who
six
he is.
man. We worked. It was uh, outsider, Derek King, and he was no. He comes out the Evolution's theme song. He's not in MCW anymore. Can't think of his
Red
name.
Walker.
Yes, Red
Red
Walker.
Walker. Right.
It was Red Walker, and we were in a six man. That was my first match.
So how'd that go for you, man? Your first match out, how was it, dude?
I
Look, I don't just
was
want the match. I want the in the back before you waiting on the music. I want the whole deal. How was it, man? How
okay.
was the nerves, man?
So the nerves was terrible, and the thing is though, is that God rest his soul. I end up seeing Smitty, no pity Smitty.
Right.
And he was back there and he could see that I was nervous. And I talked to him. He was like, "Man, don't be nervous, man. You're going to be all right." I was like, and it kind of helped me out a little bit. And then, because I was still super nervous in the back. And then, but I wasn't too nervous because I know Derek was going to take care of stuff. So, because I was trusting him.
Right.
And so we get out there, and I didn't know how to incorporate anything. I was just trying to look menacing. the whole entire time. It was before I really just developed who I particularly am and put myself into my in my character. So I was pretending I was trying to be something during that point in time that I'm definitely not. It's a part of it, but it's not 100% me.
Right.
So I went out there. It was just, and I was lost. Large portion of that match, I was lost, big lost, and I definitely got carried through that whole entire match when it came to, thankfully for Derek and Matthew Wade for sure, who I haven't worked yet. Now, shout out to Matthew Wade. I like one of these days in 2024 we need to work.
There you go. We making matches right here on Buster Unmasked. Matthew Wade, you heard that right there. The vanity killer's coming for your ass.
It sure is. And speaking of Vanity Killer, there's a gentleman by the name of Big Cedric from OCW. He's the current OCW heavyweight champion. I'm not trying to put any light or kind of shine on him, but he did steal my finish. He called it the act right. Of course, millennials, they spell it AKRITE.
Right.
What can you do? You know, what can you do? And I just want everybody to know that I was the first one to use it. And he definitely saw me use it. All I'm saying.
Oh, I seen some of y'all's posts. I seen where you had kind of took a little umbrage to that and kind of let him know, hey man, I appreciate you stealing my shit, man. You know what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean?
Oh, I can cuss on here?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
this is
dude,
great.
you're good, man.
But my thing is that my always what my issue is that people always want to come for me on social media, and it never works out for them. I don't know why people want to do that. I don't know what to get themselves into. I don't know why they think they're going to win this. If you're going back and forth with me verbally, it is not going to work out for you. I'm entirely too smart for you. I mean, Arkansas education system can only go so far. Like, I
Hey,
don't
ho, ho, ho,
understand it.
hold on now. Hey, ho. I was
I'm not
born and
saying
raised in Arkansas, dude. Hold on now.
not everybody. There's always exceptions to the rule. There's always exceptions to the rule, but the ones that always involve themselves with me, for some reason, I don't understand what they think they're gonna get from it. You know, I don't understand it. How you want it, dog. That's why I ask them when they when they get into my comment section. Closed casket. How you think he got in that wheelchair? I'm just saying, like, don't do it. Just don't do it. I don't understand why people want to come at me like that.
Well, I'm glad you brought up social media and that because I'm going to tell you something. I don't remember the exact post. It's been a couple of weeks ago now, maybe even 3 or so, but I don't remember what the actual post was, but you were in the comments and you made a comment about being in the military. And obviously, you being in the military, you understand the need for leadership. You understand the idea that, hey, if you're the leader, you need to be a leader and act like a leader. And you made a statement and said that there is so many wrestling companies around here and promoters, but there's very few real leaders in that group. And dude, that stuck with me ever since I read that. That jumped out at me because you're right, man. You're 100% right. There's a ton of companies, there's a ton of promoters, but there's very few real leaders out there. And give me your thoughts on that situation. Give me the context of that, dude.
But the context was a very. I think he's misunderstood, Johnny Dotson, and I think he's very much misunderstood when it comes to some of the things that is done when it comes to him. But the thing is, he made a post, and I had commented on it. And what gets it's he was talking about Jason Genesis, and he wanted to open up a dojo, which is it's not my place to say what to do, what not to do. I just think people need to stay in their lane sometimes. I understand people want to take the business, but the thing is, though, when it comes to, I spent out of my 12 years in the service, I spent 8 of those years I was an NCO. I got out as a staff sergeant, so I had two NCOs below me, and I had soldiers. And it's
Right.
just what people need to understand, not to mention uh, finishing up my degree in management and the freaking went to many, many management schools. So I have an idea of deployed as a as a manager for somebody. I'm using regular terms for it, but the thing is, at the end of the day, what people need to understand is the simple fact of There's a certain thing called toxic leadership in anything that you do. Whatever profession that you go into, there's going to be toxic leadership. But the thing is, though, to negate that, there has to be good leadership somewhere down the line. If you've been in this business, just like in the military, if you've been in this business and you hold a certain position in this business, your position and job should be to train the person ahead of you,
Right.
to be there for the next soldier, be a mentor. And there's not a lot of mentors. That's
Pull
why a
them
lot
up
of
instead
people,
of pushing them down.
exactly, pull them up, put them under your wing and actually train and lead them. Show them what's the right way to do things. If there are 80%, if granted, if somebody has a terrible school, right? Say they putting out people that can't work. If the minority of it is 10%, if that's 10% of the business, okay. But if the strong 90% are guys like Derek King, Alan Steele, Johnny Dodson, guys like Golden Boy, guys like um, Harry and David, guys who've been in the
Right.
business a long time, if you're putting out students who know what they're doing, who can work, oh, Ricky, APW, out those guys. If that's what you're putting out is 90% of the business is comprised of wonderful students being trained and taught by actual mentors and leaders, you're going to produce you're going to produce better wrestlers than you will produce the ones that are terrible that shouldn't be out there in the first place.
Right.
So, granted, there's always going to be a minority of people that's not going to take the business serious. There's always going to be that minority. And that's in any kind of business you go into. But the thing is, though, if the majority of the people are people that actually take the business seriously and know the old school etiquette and everything else, then what else can you do? What else can you say about it? Of course, there's going to be better things along the line. Of course, the future of professional wrestling is going to be better.
Right.
You just have to. But the thing is, though, you can't sit on the sideline and point fingers and talk about someone if you're not doing something yourself. So
Exactly.
that's where the toxic leadership comes in. You can't sit here and continue trying to get yourself over and not put out and want to talk about the state of the business. It To me, it doesn't make any sense. The reason why I'm coming out, I'm speaking from a military standpoint because I've been in 12 years. I train and lead and mentor soldiers when I was over there. Because if you have a private E nothing who's going out there and they don't know how to fire their weapon or they don't know how to do land nav, they don't know how to do simple basic army stuff, then it is my job to train and lead you. Is make
Right.
sure that the person under me is there to train and lead you. It works just that simple because what you're doing, you're training the people for the future. That's how it's supposed to be.
And
That's my viewpoint on it.
well, you talk about that training people for the future. And look, I understand being pro your company. Obviously, you want your company, your promotion to succeed, but you got to also take into consideration for your company to succeed, the wrestling business itself needs to be succeeding. You need to training good people, quality people, like you said, Derek and Alan, having mentors like that you can count on, and even if they're chewing your ass out, they've got good intentions. It's to make you better. It's to either draw attention to something that you need to change or you need to do different. And man, that struck such a chord with me, especially with your military background and the way you kind of. I only took half of the context out. There was more to it, but when you got down to the leadership and with your military experience, the way you explained it, man, I thought, well, dude, this is the perfect dude to really put this out there and say, hey, leadership is important. Leadership's important in every facet of business, life, whatever it is. Good leaders are needed, man. That's what makes everything flow better. That's what makes everybody better. And dude, I'll be honest with you, I almost took that post and copied it and screenshotted it and put it up. But I didn't want to. I didn't want to take your post and know how far you want to go with it. But man, I think a lot of people should have read that. Need to read that because you wasn't really just coming at it from an inside the business standpoint.
Mm-mm.
You came in it from a real life standpoint of good
Mm-hmm.
leadership is good leadership no matter what field you're in or where you're at. good leaders are needed, are important, no matter what. And dude, it just struck a chord with me. I've been waiting for this show just to talk about this. I
Yeah,
have. I've been waiting on this show, man.
yeah. And the thing is, it's just a fact of life when it comes to it. If you aren't trying to, like I said before, a lot of guys understand that concept, and it's like I told Derek King this many times. Like, there's so many people he's touching this business that are that are wrestling today that are training other people. Like, I told him, man, you're building up franchises. Well, you like McDonald's out here.
Right.
Because even with, like I said before, I mentioned Shelton Benjamin earlier. Shelton Benjamin actually said that he got the blonde hair from Derek. I heard him out of his mouth say that about him. I heard him say, Derek King made me. Because Derek and Allen, from my personal standpoint that I've seen, I can't speak for anybody else. All I can speak for is my personal experience. Those guys definitely know it for sure when it comes to things being important. I'm
Right.
not saying Johnny Dotson don't know. I'm sure Johnny does because Johnny's been in this business forever. So I'm not discounting him. I haven't had a personal experience with him yet. But I know from my personal experience, guys like Derek King and Alan Steele, those guys, they know it. And I also believe guys like K Swiss know it. I also believe guys like Neil know it. And those guys over at EPW are awesome.
Right.
They're a wonderful company to work for. And they'll take their time with you, and they'll definitely, for sure, they will, um, the same way that Derek and Allen does it. They will. If you suck, K Swiss will tell you.
Right. Well, it's an old school mentality, man. That's one thing I think needs to change right now in the business is there's too many. Oh man, it was a great match when there needs to be more. If it was a great match, that's fine. But if it wasn't, don't tell somebody that. Tell them, hey man, look, man, I don't know if you know Motley Cruz, but his favorite words were, if you come back and you had a shit match, when you hit the dressing room, that was the shits. And then he'd pull you aside and start breaking it down for you and kind of explaining to you why it wasn't good, why it could have been better, the things you maybe should have done or shouldn't have done. And it takes, you got to learn how to take that constructive criticism, man. You just do. It's hard for some people to take it, but you just got to learn to take it because most of these guys like Derek Allen, look, Derek could have quit this business a long time ago, but he hadn't. He's still at it. He's still doing it. He's still in Osceola, Arkansas, damn near every Friday night. Therefore, that lets you know this dude cares about the wrestling business. He loves it. So when you got that kind of passion about the business, you want everybody to be better. If the better everybody else is, the better wrestling is as a whole, man.
And I agree. And the thing is, though, is like when it comes to there's a certain part of it. Like I ain't gonna lie, I'm not exactly the. When it comes to me, when I take criticism, I sometimes I like to know why. And I think sometimes that comes off as me trying to be like disrespectful. And I don't mean it in a disrespectful way. I want to know why, as in like for future reference, I want to know what's the meaning of it. Like what's my direction? What's the motivation of it? I know back in the day you probably couldn't do that, but I don't mean a disrespectful way. I really I want to know like if so that way later on when I leave or I go somewhere else, I can understand the what is going on here, like what you want me to do. It helps me
Right.
better understand what you want me to do.
I'm a firm believer. If I'm going to criticize you or critique you, then I ought to be able to give you, like you said, it ought to automatically come as if I'm going to critique something you did, then I ought to explain to you why I look at it that way or why I'm critiquing it that way.
Yeah.
I understand that. It makes perfect sense, man. Uh,
So
this business is wild. Look, you talk about Johnny. Johnny's a good dude, man. At heart,
that's what I
Johnny
always
is a
hear.
great dude.
That's what I always
Sometimes
hear.
Johnny kind of gets in his own way, I think, because he gets caught up in the hype. He's good at it. He's good at it, but sometimes it may kind of go a little too far and it pulls away from his talent. Because Johnny's talented in the ring. And sometimes I think maybe it draws away from his talent. But he's smart to the business. He can work his ass off. And man, I think he's probably a pretty good leader. I've never been to Bluff City, like to see how it's run or anything. But Johnny has good intentions. I can promise you that he has good intentions. Sometimes I think he lets the Facebook drama kind of overshadow the business. But that's just part of his personality. That's also what makes Johnny Johnny. You
Yeah,
know. Well, look, man, you talked
I
about
noticed that about him. I'm sorry. Say again.
no. You talked about EPW. Man, you've kind of been everywhere. You've worked some for EPW, Memphis Wrestling, obviously, MCW. I even see you working some Liberty. Liberty Pro, the women's wrestling, the custom wrestling. Talk
My
to me
first
about that a
one,
little.
my first one will be in February. So I haven't had a match there yet, but my first one will be in February. But I've worked for MCW, EPW, APW, which is All Pro Wrestling
Right.
by Ricky Kennedy. I've worked for I did one match in OCW. I wrestled OCW, Out of Control Wrestling in Hoxie. I wrestled for whew, I wrestled for a lot of places. Of course, Committed to Wrestling out there in Memphis with Marco. I've wrestled for and a couple places that I'm not going to name right now. That's you'll see in the future.
I've actually got a few graphics here. When we get a little further in the show, I'm gonna pull up talk about the Committed to Wrestling. I've got that
Hmm.
graphic. I've got one with you from Liberty Pro, and
Hmm.
I want to say MCW too. We'll pull up and talk about it. Look for a second there. Let's talk about MCW a minute, dude. I know you and Tommy Too Good has been you've been in a feud, man. And look, I had Tommy Too Good on probably a month ago. It was before you and him. Y'all were scheduled to have a match for the title for the MCW. If I'm thinking right, the junior heavyweight title. Is that
Ain't
right?
he ugly? Yeah, ain't he ugly? Ain't he
He says
ugly?
he's too
Ain't
good,
he
man. He
ugly?
says he's too
Ain't he
good.
ugly?
Y'all kind of make a good pair. You got Dorian Vane and Tommy Too Good. Both of you kind of a little vain, man. I don't know. But look, man, kind of tell me where this feud is at and what's been going on with that, man.
You see, with Too Good, I don't know what's going on with Too Good, to be honest with you. Too Good, for some reason, he keeps getting lucky every single week. I don't understand it. I don't see how that even works out. I don't know. Call it divine intervention. Call it he has a lucky rabbit's foot. Maybe he has a four-leaf clover. St. Patrick's Day came in early. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't understand how somebody like Tommy Too Good could practically beat me. I don't understand it, but it keeps happening. And I'm just like, I'm confused by just by anybody else. I think he's just really winging it when he goes out there, to be honest with you. I don't understand it. I don't get how I haven't beat him yet. It really annoys me. It grinds my gears. I'm not even gonna lie to you. So what can you do right now? Only thing I can do the only thing is though, is that it's fine. Hard times build strong men. It's gonna be all right. I'm gonna get it back eventually, and it ain't gonna make no difference.
So let me ask you this: has he had any taste of the Vanity Killer yet?
Soon, unfortunately, he has not, but soon, a lot of people end up getting it. Ask
Well, look,
Ace, as well, now he's not Baldur anymore. Now he's what's his name? Garth Mahoney. Ask him. Ask a lot of different people. Ask a lot of different people. That's what it is.
look, man. You went back when we first opened. You said you'd actually done some boxing, done a little MMA. You've been in the military. So talk to me about going from boxing, MMA, strict military, strict routine, strict rules to transferring over into the wrestling business, man. Talk to me about that? Was there any issues with you? Was it hard to make that transition, or did it just come natural for you?
It's hard, land people. It's hard when it comes to putting having more of a show about it. I'm used to just beating you up and just tossing you around and beating you up. Now I gotta be a showman about it. I gotta take my time and beat you up, and then now I gotta yeah, that's the hard part about it. I'd rather just get you out of there and call it a good evening, but I can't
Right.
do that.
Right. This is
I
wrestling. You
gotta
don't get paid by the hour.
don't get paid by the hour, so I gotta make sure that it's I that's the part I don't like. I have to I have to put on a show for you and everything else while I'm in there. Versus me just finishing it up and just calling it a good day. Just that's it. So it wasn't that was the only transition I could find that was kind of hard about it. And the fact that I actually have to like deal with the crowd, especially if I have to talk to them, deal with them. Most cases like this, I don't want to talk to you or deal with you. I'd rather go out there and do my job, do what I do best, and then just leave. But that has just put me on. Has
Justin
Justin Klein.
Klein, man. There
I
you go.
love Justin Klein.
He's on
I
here,
love
man.
Justin Klein. I love Justin Klein. Let me tell you something about Justin Klein. Justin Klein is really the only reason why Brandon Savage is in any single it has gotten the success he's gotten. It's a fact. I wish it was science. I wish I could put up the statistics of the fact of Justin Klein is literally the only reason why that vacuum, that charisma vacuum known as Brandon Savage, is even doing anything he's doing at PPW or EPW. Justin Klein's is the
Wow.
brains. Justin Klein does his promos for him. Justin Klein, only thing Justin Klein can't do is his matches for him. And then, all I'm saying is that made sense. Now don't ruin it.
Man.
All I'm saying, Justin, all I'm saying with Justin Klein, he is the talent and the brains behind these guys. He's the talent and the brains. I think instead of having that floral polo shirt with no logo on it, I never seen a man wear a shirt. How you don't have how
Yeah.
you I never seen a shirt day in my life. It has no logo on it, no polo, no horse, no nothing. All I'm saying is I would love to trade that floral polo shirt with a little visor and the khaki shorts. Put a suit on him. Have him look professional, like me, a professional. That's all I'm saying. I
Man,
think he deserves that instead of being everything. Like it's got to be exhausting for Justin Klein to carry Brandon Savage as hard as he does. The thing is, though, it's not nothing against Brandon. I'm not saying Brandon can't work. What I'm saying is that he needs to put a little more on his back instead of just having Justin Klein do everything for him. All I'm saying.
well, let me ask you this then, man. Do you think how you think Justin Klein would pair with Dorian Vane?
I think we'll be an absolute pairing. I think
Mm.
we'll be a pairing like Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. We'll be a pairing
Oh,
like matter of fact, the best way to describe it would be he'll be my JJ Dillon to me to my Ric Flair.
whoa, there you
He'll be
go,
my
man.
JJ Dillon. He'll be my JJ Dillon for sure.
So look, I'm feeling like
Best way to put it.
I'm feeling like we're working our way to a Justin Klein on a pole match. Maybe
I was
maybe
thinking
you
the same thing. Justin Klein on the ladder match. Put him in like a little
maybe
shark cage up top. And
well
then
maybe you
I
and
just like it.
Brandon go at it, and whoever wins go. That's who Justin. Whoever wins gets Justin, man.
I would definitely enjoy that. And I'm telling you right now, you think that Justin's gonna is gonna pull for Brandon. You think that Justin Klein just just wanna manage him. You will be sadly mistaken if you think that's the case.
I see some dissension in the frat row, man. I'm feeling like there might be something going on in the frat row that some of the guys, namely Brandon, may not know about, dude.
I think in 2024 there's going to be a difference when it comes to the frat row hero, and I don't think it's going to be good. He's going to end up losing Justin Klein at some point to me, and sorry. I mean, you got to be. Hey, if you're a real friend, don't you want your friend to do better?
Right.
Now, I'm a real friend of Justin Klein. I want him to do better. I want him to not just have to pull the weight every single time he does something. I want it's a partnership. Instead of 60-40 like he does with Brandon, it's going to be 50-50.
Well,
Not 45-55.
look. Dorian Vane, Brandon Savage, head to head. How does Brandon Savage match up to you, man?
I'm gonna dump him on his head, and I'm gonna tune him up, and I'm gonna dump him on his head. I'm gonna suplex him. It's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good for him at all. I'm gonna launch him from one side of the ring to the other side of the ring, and then I'm going to, yeah. And I hope Justin Klein ain't there. I don't want him to see that. I don't want him to see that. What did he say? There's no situation, false narrative.
He
Oh,
cracking a
Justin's
false
so
narrative
funny.
here.
Sometimes, let me stop talking about Justin because he's gonna have to, at some point in time, I don't want him to be in no hot water with Brandon right now. I don't want that for him. So let me leave it alone. But all I'm saying is, Justin, whenever you want to change your mind, whenever you want to particularly stop feeling like you have to carry a heavy load all the time, just hit me up. You know my DMs. You got my number.
Ooh, I hope
You
Brandon
got my
Savage
number.
is watching this, man.
I hope he is watching this.
That's one I want to see if it happens, dude. Well, look, let's get back to Dorian Vane then. Man, look, tell me this: how long have you actually been wrestling?
A year and some change.
Really?
Hmm.
I did not realize that. I thought you had been wrestling. I thought it was around 3 years, man.
Nah, but a year and some change.
A year and some change. Well, man, you've come for real for a year and some change, man. Like I said, I've seen you live twice, man. You seem to be progressing extremely fast to me, dude.
Well, besides the fact, I'm around generals a lot of the time. Guys like the Claps, for example, everybody in there can work. So,
Right.
but between the Claps, Dorian King, and I wrestle people, I'm wrestling every weekend. Every Friday and Saturday, I'm wrestling. So, between that, going to as many seminars as I possibly can, I even travel outside to go to seminars. I went to the Mickey James seminar out there in Maryland over at MCW, which is Maryland Championship Wrestling out
Right.
there. I went to her seminar. I went to freaking Josh Alexander's seminar. Went to who else? It's a lot of different seminars I've been to. I've been to NWA tryout over at when they were at Waterloo over in Cleveland. Wrestled a couple of matches in front of when you wrestle in front of EC3, Tommy Lattimore, Aaron Stevens,
Right.
and the only thing they could tell me was you need boots. You need boots. So at that point in time, I was wearing kick pads and stuff. I don't wear kick pads anymore. So I didn't give me some boots, and that was basically just about it. Boots,
Right.
and
Well,
to be more in tune with my promos.
there's Brian Rogers. That's T Pain watching. He's got his eyes. He got the eyes. So
So
I'm
that
I'm assuming he's checking Dorian Vane out, man.
so yeah, like I said, that was the only thing they ever told me. And those guys are at the level that I want to be at. So when it came to that tryout, they absolutely enjoyed everything I did. They of course they love my look. Of course they love everything else. So I go out there and I invest in myself. So I go out there and I go to seminars. I wrestle every weekend. I try to go to trainings all as much as I possibly can. And what the
Tim
hell?
Davis. I
But
don't know if you know Tim.
the truth, this guy needs my services. And that's what I do. And so I during the course of this time, I invest a lot in myself. And I don't sit I'm on every show I can possibly can, as many shows as I possibly can be on. Because
Right.
I'm trying to learn as much as I can in matches with people especially people who are better than me. And that's what I do. And that's the most one I cannot tell you how grateful I am to have found MCW in the Claps. As much as I love to make fun of Carl, as much as I love to make fun of Harry, well, I'll make fun of David. I love David. David's my guy. But he's my favorite clap besides CJ. But anyways, um, as much as I love these guys, I'm very grateful that I found MCW. Even though, I'm sure they feel the same way about me. But
Nah.
I mean, how could you not? Yeah, but you need one person at least like a star in your show. You need at least one person. So,
There you go.
but nevertheless, um, beside all that sentimental stuff, that's really what it is. And there we go when it comes to that. Like I said, I invest a lot in myself. And you have to I was told that you have to venture out, which is
Right.
what 2024 is going to be for me. The excursion of going to different shows and doing other things, but more than I did last year. Because I only think I went to 2 or 3 states last year and wrestled outside of the area. I think it was 2 or 3 states. Yeah. So this year, I plan on hitting a lot more states than that. A lot of more promotions outside of Memphis than that.
Well, that's what a lot of young guys don't do. They find them a home somewhere. They find them a promotion somewhere. They get comfortable there, and they stay there. And if you once you stay there too long, eventually you get stuck there. And man, like you said, you need young wrestlers needs to go out and work as many different people, work at as many different places in front of as many different audiences as you possibly can, because every single place is a little bit different. And you can only, here's the thing, if you're working the same guys day in, day out, week in, week out for a year, and that's all, well, there comes that point when you're not learning nothing anymore. Like you said, you need to be out working other people, because one thing about wrestling, it's all about timing. In the ring, it's about timing, and you need to work with everybody, because that helps you perfect your timing with different people, man.
Hmm.
And I think I think a lot of guys miss out on that. I'm glad to hear that one of your goals is to get out and travel and work. That's how you make it in this business. That's how you get noticed. That's how you make connections. You can't make connections staying in the same town, in the same company your whole career.
And the thing is, though, and that yeah, that's really how it works. That's exactly how. It's the only way how it works. That's what I've always been told. And Alan Steele, that's the one. Alan and Derek are the ones that really instilled that in me for me to do that, to get out, get out, get out. Especially Alan. I would go into the gist of how that was such a big deal, but I don't want to do that right now. But the thing is, though, that's really what it is. That's really how that works. Like, if I had stayed in Memphis and just wrestled for Memphis, only wrestled, I don't know, 2 or 3 times a month, I wouldn't have nowhere. You gotta like for example, wrestling 8 times. I wrestle at least 8 times a month. At least 8 times. I really want to wrestle more, but at least
Right.
8 times a month. And and that's my bare minimum. I do that every month. Every month. I wrestle 8 times a month.
Well,
Sometimes more.
to be honest with you, you really need to do this to really get good at it, and it kind of becomes second nature. You really need minimum of 3 times a week or more.
Yeah.
You need to be out there working, and that's one thing that's wrong. That's a problem now too. Is there's not companies out there running a circuit, running the territory where you're in a different town every night, man, and it takes guys longer to get experience and to learn when you're only working 2-3 times a month. You need to work as much as you possibly can, because I mean, look, you being from the military, you understand this. The more repetitions you get, it becomes muscle memory. It becomes second
Yeah.
nature to you.
Yeah.
The
Very
more
true.
the more nights you spend in the ring wrestling, the easier it comes the next night and the next night and the next night.
Like, I felt it when I got comfortable. Like, I forgot what match it was, but I felt it when I got comfortable. Like, I just, like, I don't know if it was a switch or something, but I felt it when I was like, I'm pretty comfortable doing this now. At first I wasn't, but I will tell you this, what made me really love wrestling it wasn't when I was in Memphis. Granted, my time in Memphis was good. I mean, I appreciate the opportunity there. But the thing was, though, when I wrestled against Austin Rathchild at my first APW show, it was in West Memphis. I won't forget. It was my first time being myself. And then after that match, I was hooked. There was no way I was going back to being something that I didn't want to be.
Right.
And it was, and then, and I can tell, like, and that's why I've noticed when it comes to not only just Derek, not only just, some of the guys in the back, that a lot of their stuff, how they are inside in the back, it's just them times 1,000. And that's what I noticed. And then when I was like, let me be myself times 1,000. And that's exactly what I am, myself times 1,000.
The more you can be you out there, the better chance you have for success.
Mm-hmm.
You yourself. I've said this repeatedly lately, but a lot of young guys now want to break in the business and they want to have a gimmick. And it could be a cartoon character, it could be a comic book character, it could be a villain. Who knows? When really young guys need to get in the business, ply their trade, get experience, and just become wrestlers.
Learn how to
As you
work.
start, exactly, as you start becoming just a wrestler, then you start evolving and you start figuring out exactly who you are. And usually the gimmick comes, and the best gimmicks are the ones that are really just you turned up.
And I'll say this. I got so many Derek King euphemisms, little sayings. One of the things he always tell me, he's like, Jason, you got a really good look, but the bell has to ring. You have to be good at this. You got to learn how to work. And he doesn't tell me that anymore, thankfully. So I'm starting to think he thinks I can work at least a little bit. He don't put anybody over, except for maybe Allen.
And
That's it.
itself,
In itself, oh,
in itself for
in
sure.
itself for sure. But the thing is, though, but but he will tell you he's proud of you, and he's told me that a few times. But he's a softie whenever he wants to be. Nevertheless, um, but yeah, I mean, when it comes to, there's a lot of people, especially I've noticed in the area, when it comes to some of these guys that I see that's wrestling, they want to be anime characters so bad. I'm
Right.
like they want to be little. They do like little villain anime laugh. They have like little anime freaking mask on. They have like a hoodie. They have all these little gadgets and all this other stuff. I'm like why? I
They
don't
have all
understand
of
it.
that before they can even work or
Learn how to
even
work.
wrestle most of the time. They have all the gig, and
It's,
it
and
creates a roadblock mentally, I think, for guys because you have this persona in your head, but once you get into the wrestling business, you realize it ain't quite what you think it is from the outside. There's a
not
lot
at
that
all.
goes into this, and I'm with you. I do not like the look. If you evolve into one of those characters, and that's who you become and who you are, that's fine. But just go out when you're young and just learn how to become a wrestler. But just go out, become a wrestler, and get to know yourself.
Yeah. And it's funny because a lot of times I've driven on the road with Derek. He'll love to play. He'll play Train Drops of Jupiter all the time, and he'll start singing it because that's just Derek. And he was like, Jason, I was out there when you're trying to find yourself. You're currently finding yourself right now. And I love Derek. But the thing is that yeah, I agree. And the only way you're gonna find yourself is through reps.
Right.
I've noticed, like I'm not gonna tell like I'm a vet. I'm by any means or a vet by any shape of any kind of form. But that's what I've noticed. The reason why I say, I learn through reps. You learn because that's what everybody told me, and that's what worked for everybody. That's how everybody got good is from wrestling everywhere.
Right.
And one of the things I also took from Derek was the fact that Jason, I didn't care about where I was going to go. I just wanted to be a wrestler. And that's where it came in for me. Like I care. I mean, of course, it would be cool to do this full time and be wrestler for some really cool, awesome promotion like AEW or something like that. But to be honest with you, I want to be a wrestler. I want to be good at this.
Right.
And that's where all of this came in for me. I just really wanted to be good at this. I just really want to be able to be a good wrestler and be known to be a good wrestler. I see how people talk about Derek and people talk about Allen, I won't be able to people talk about it like that when it comes to me. I see people how they talk about Johnny because
Right.
I've never heard anybody say. I heard them say some of the stuff on social media. Without social media, I don't think people will talk as they do about Johnny as they do. I think he'll be talked about in the same sentence when it comes to Allen and Derek, when it comes to how he is as a person. That's really what I believe. I also think, and it's also other, good guys when it comes to Memphis, like Simon,
Right.
from the Posse, freaking Austin, um, Austin Lane, those guys, all those guys in general they're just wonderful dudes, and they really care about the business. Guys like Martin, Precious,
Right.
awesome dudes. One of my mentors as well was is Precious. One of my mentors. A lot of people don't know that. But one of my mentors for sure is Martin. Anytime I call, just like I can call up Derek, I can call up Martin, and he will tell me certain things about myself. Martin's the reason why I broke into the business. He helped me break into the business,
Oh,
and
wow.
how I broke into it is so pro wrestling. It's so old school pro wrestling. I met him in a gym. I was working out, of course, and I noticed him. I was like, man, that guy's Memphis wrestling. So walk up to him, hey man, ain't this you? He was like, oh yeah, that's me, that's me. I was like, oh, my name's Jason. I'm trying to interrupt you, you know. And he's like, okay. And then we get to talking. He asked me for tips when it comes to dieting and everything else. And then I asked him, I told him I do want to be a wrestler. And then he introduced me to Dustin, everything else, blah, blah, blah. There we go. A lot of people don't know that story, but yeah, it's good old Presh. He's the one that helped me break into the business.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I mean, you kind of was ahead of the pack a lot as far as when you just break in, man. You got the size and you already had a good look about you. You were in shape. A
Yeah.
lot of guys break in, they're not really in shape like they should be. And man, a lot of times that's half the battle. If you're in shape and you got the look, then really all
Mhm.
you need is the reps. You just need the work over and over, day after day, and you're going to get good at it, man.
Yeah. And like I said before, I need a lot more reps before I can say that I think I'm really good in this business. I don't think I'm really good yet. I think I am. I think I'm, as I like to say, I ain't shit. I ain't shit.
That's
I
a good
really ain't shit.
attitude to have,
Yeah,
though,
I
dude.
ain't
That's
shit.
that's the good attitude to have in this business, man. A lot
Yeah.
of times, guys get in the business, they get a little push, and when I say a little push, I mean tiny in some hole in the wall town, and immediately their head swells up. They're a
Yeah.
star, and it's good to stay humble, and it's good to always look at it like that, man. That hey,
But
I'm still a work in progress.
but I don't want anybody to get twisted by me saying that I say I ain't shit. I'll still beat your ass. I'll beat your ass for real. And what did Jacob Fatu say? I'll dog walk your bitch ass. And
Man,
I
I
have
seen
to
that.
thoroughly agree with that. I have to agree with him. I have to agree. That's exact same what my thought process on it as well.
Sometimes, man, I don't know if it happens as much now, but sometimes in the old days, you had to go out and prove yourself to guys because guys would try you. Guys would go out there and try you, and it's good to be able to handle yourself, man.
It's just well, yeah, I agree. And it's also I'm just saying in general. I was like, I ain't shit, but I'll still get on your ass. So
No, I
that's just
understand
one
where
of
you're
the
coming
things.
from
Yeah, yeah,
fully,
yeah.
dude, man. I get it, man. Well, look, you got some shows coming up. I got a few
Hmm.
graphics. I'm gonna pull them up and we'll check them out, and you can tell me a little bit about these shows, man. I think the first one you got coming up, you're in Osceola this Friday for sure, right?
I sure am. Osceola this Friday.
Going to be a big card because not only is the Vanity Killer going to be there, but this is going to be the night Jack Vaughn's going to be there too, right?
Yeah, Jack Vaughn's gonna be there.
Well, look, I see
That's
you
gonna be super
holding
cool to meet
that
him.
belt on this poster, man.
I,
Now,
I,
Tommy Too Good. Look, Tommy Too Good made me. He said, "Look, he knew I was gonna have you on in a few weeks after y'all's match," and he said, "Ask him about the match afterward." Now let me ask you something. Now it's been a few weeks, and I know y'all. I think y'all had a couple of matches. I know he won the belt. Does he still have it?
Yeah, he still has it. And it's funny because apparently MCW doesn't like the fact that he's champion because they still got a picture of me holding the belt. So let you know how they feel about Too Good.
Dude, I thought the same thing too. I thought, well, because I thought maybe this was an old flyer that they already had out, and I got to searching, and all this was new. I'm kind of like you. Maybe Tommy ain't too good at MCW. I don't know, man. Who knows?
All I'm saying. But also, I'm wrestling for. They don't have the poster up yet, unfortunately. But I'm wrestling for Wild Card.
Yeah, let
No,
me.
not Wild Card. Yeah, Wild Card Wrestling. This Saturday, and then I'll
Oh, really?
have. hmm I'm wrestling against
Will it be the
Cade
first
Allen.
time you've worked at Wild Card?
It's 100%. It's my debut at Wild Card Wrestling.
Cade Allen, dude, he's a
Cade
good
Allen, I believe I'm
kid. He's
wrestling Cade Allen.
talented. He's talented in the ring, man. He's a good kid. He's talented.
He's
Uh,
he's been my partner before. Which is really cool. He's been my partner before, but I hate to have to beat that man up. That's not going to be fun for me. Well, let me take that back. Let me take that back.
I guess that's the wrestling business, man. When that bell rings, somebody's got to get their ass kicked, man. It's as simple as
Pretty
that, dude.
much. Ain't that a good picture of me? Look at that.
So
Oh man, that's a wonderful
look,
picture of me.
Liberty Pro, man. Now this is a little different. I thought you'd actually already done at least one taping for these guys, but you said this will be your first taping.
This will be my first one. Yes, sir.
Look, man, I'll have to get you back on here down the line because I want to get you on and get a firsthand account of your first experience working for Liberty Pro because there's no audience. It's custom wrestling, and more than likely, depending on how many people buy matches that want you in matches, sometimes these folks wrestle 6-7 times in that one day a piece. Are you ready for that?
Absolutely. As I am definitely a guy that's up to and anytime I'm inside of a ring, I want to learn something. So, and
Right,
I think anytime I'm in the ring, I can learn something. So this would be no
right.
different.
Liberty Pro, man. I know a lot of people who work there, man, and they say it's a great place to work, and it should
hmm
be a place where you get to make some cash too.
Yeah.
You should make a nice little chunk of change. I would hope, man. Look, you're going to be at Committed to Wrestling, I think, in February. Let me get this
Yes,
card
sir.
pulled up, and you can
February
tell me
16th.
a little bit about this card. Now, I know everybody probably knows. I seen Dotson and this Marco guy who runs this show. They were on live last night, man, and going at it hot and heavy. So, tell me about Committed to Wrestling or Committed for Wrestling. Tell me about this
Well,
company.
I was Committed to Wrestling is owned by Marco. He's I Marco's a really cool dude. I was in the first show that was last year. I was the show that was also last year. But I was also at the show we got coming up February 16th, and it's supposed to be a battle royal for the Committed to Wrestling Championship, and a lot of good guys are going to be there. There's going to be even they got Ken Dane, and they got even Brandon. They got Carnage coming back just to have in
Right.
that match. That's a big deal. So and you also got Hunter Havoc. They got Tiptoe. They got all these wonderful dudes that's going to be inside this battle royal. So it's going to be a lot of good guys there. It's going to be really a spectacle to see because it's going to be not only a match that's going to determine the first ever committed wrestling heavyweight champion, but it's also going to be a match to where you get to see people that you probably haven't seen in a while, or people that's in the local area that's your favorite star. You're going to be able to see them live and in person inside this
Right.
match, and it's really going to be a spectacle. You never know who you're going to see in this match, and to be honest with you, I ain't worried about any of them. I'm going to walk out committed to wrestling's heavyweight champion I don't even think I even have to say anything more about it. I'm gonna be champ. Not
There
Hunter
you go,
Havoc,
y'all.
not Tiptoe, not Draven, not Ken Dang. Dang, sure not Ken Dang. And not Brandon. I don't understand why these people should even show up. I should go ahead and just win the whole thing myself. They should all just jump over the top rope themselves because ain't nobody who's gonna deal with me? Ain't nobody gonna deal with me. Why? For what? Why would you even involve yourself in something like this knowing I'm gonna be there? It's weird to me. These people are strange.
Dude, I love it, man. I love it. I know why they
Strange.
call you. I know why your name's Dorian Vane, man. I do, man. Look, dude, I've had a blast, man. This one I've enjoyed it. It's been my pleasure.
Hmm.
Look, for any promoters, bookers out there, you got any social media or you got anything you want to promote so these guys can contact you if they want to book Dorian Vane?
I ain't gonna lie to you. Well, my email address if you want any bookings it's is MiltonStrong3 at yahoo.com. That's my usual thing. And also hit me up on Instagram, Dorian Vane 556 underscore 556. And of course hit me on Facebook where it's just Dorian Vane, Mr. High
There you go.
Value.
Y'all heard it. Hey, the Vanity Killer. He's coming for everybody. He's called his shot at Committed to Wrestling. He said he's taking the belt. Tommy Too Good, he's coming for you. Brandon Savage. I mean, you might be losing your manager somewhere down the line. You can't never tell.
It's a
You
matter
called
of
out
time.
Matthew Wade.
It's a
I don't
matter of
remember what
time.
the dude's name is that stole the Vanity Killer from you, but I know you're looking
I
to
don't think
land
anybody
that
else
on
remembers his
him.
name. I don't think anybody I just forgot his name a second ago. I don't think anybody remembers that guy's name. I don't think anybody remembers his name. What I don't even I know he works for OCL. I mean, not OCL. I know he works for Hoxie. That's the only thing I remember. I know his location. I don't even remember his name. Let's not give him a platform.
There you go.
Here we
Dude,
go.
it's been my pleasure. I appreciate you giving me your time, man. Like I said,
Thank you.
uh, man, I wish you all the luck in the world in your wrestling career and in your future, man. Keep doing what you're doing,
Appreciate
man.
that.
You got a good head on your shoulders, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You don't get too many compliments in this business.
They come few and far between, man. Hey, you better have a tough skin in this business.
Yes.
I'm just going to be honest with you, dude. Like I said, it's been my pleasure, and you have a great night, my friend.
You too. Have a great night. Thank you for having me.
You take it easy. All right, y'all, you seen it right there. Dorian Vane, Vanity Killer. You can catch him all over the place. OCL Arkansas on Fridays, Committed to Wrestling, Liberty Pro. You might see him on Memphis Wrestling. You might see him on EPW. Wild Card Wrestling this weekend. Go check this dude out. And guys, listen to me. Tomorrow night, special time, 7:30 p.m., we're going to all enter the House of Genesis. Jason Genesis will be here live tomorrow night on Buster Unmasked, 7:30. Guys, I appreciate everybody who watched. Thank y'all, and all y'all have a good night.